This small country is pushing the world into
Armageddon.
A war between China and the United States will soon escalate out of control, and that will be Armageddon, Armageddon, and Armageddon.
If the spectacle of the West furnishing Ukraine with arms to confront Russia struck you as playing with fire, cast your gaze eastward to the unfolding drama in Southeast Asia.
请坐下。
谁妄想这样干？
Anyone who dares try to do that will have their heads bashed bloody against the Great Wall of Steel, forged by over 1.4 billion Chinese people.
Taiwan, a landmass smaller than Denmark, finds itself ensnared in the crosshairs of a clash between two titanic powers of our age, and not one of them is backing down. But why does Taiwan command such singular attention? At the heart of the matter lie microchips, those unassuming marvels that underpin our contemporary existence. Among them, Taiwan Semiconductor, manufacturing company, TSMC, reigns supreme, churning out an estimated 90% of the globe's cutting-edge semiconductors.
You want to understand national interests? Is it in our national interest? That's pretty clear.
Oh, it's 100% national interest and international interest,
yes,
and China's interest and a lot of people's interest.
Yep.
This is exactly what you were referencing. The blue is Taiwan's market share of the world high-end chips.
Jeez, look at that.
It would be a terrible
disaster.
This reality thrusts the United States into a perplexing quandary. Defend Taiwan at any cost and risk a cataclysmic confrontation with the world's largest military force, an ordeal that would render the horrors of the Second World War a mere prelude. Or opt for non-intervention, a course that might herald the fusion of China and Taiwan, endowing the former with unparalleled dominance in chip production. Yet, intertwined with this geopolitical conundrum lies a deeper narrative. China ardently contends it holds an immutable historical claim over Taiwan, deeming any alignment of the island with the United States as yet another slap in the face, a bitter reminder of the humiliations inflicted upon China by colonial powers across the ages. Throughout the annals of history, China's narrative is punctuated by a series of episodes that stand as stark reminders of the country's tumultuous encounters with colonial powers. From the Opium Wars to the imposition of unequal treaties, the scars of China's humiliation run deep, shaping its national psyche and informing its contemporary geopolitical outlook. The Opium Wars of the 19th century serve as a poignant starting point in this saga of subjugation. Fueled by the insatiable demand for Chinese tea and silk, British merchants sought to rebalance their trade deficit with China by flooding the market with opium, a highly addictive narcotic. In response to China's attempts to curb the opium trade, Britain, supported by other Western powers, unleashed military force, leading to the Treaty of Nanking in 1842. This treaty not only ceded Hong Kong to British control, but also forced China to open several ports to foreign trade and grant extraterritorial rights to Westerners within its borders. The subsequent decades saw a succession of unequal treaties imposed upon China by various colonial powers, including France, Germany, Russia, and Japan. These treaties, extracted under duress and coercion, further eroded China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The infamous Boxer Rebellion of 1900, fueled by Chinese resentment towards foreign exploitation and influence, was brutally suppressed by a coalition of Western and Japanese forces, leading to further concessions and indemnities. The collapse of the Qing dynasty in 1911 and the subsequent fragmentation of China into warlord-controlled territories only deepened the country's vulnerability to external aggression. The Japanese invasion of Manchuria in 1931 and the subsequent full-scale invasion in 1937 inflicted untold suffering upon the Chinese populace, culminating in atrocities such as the rape of Nanjing. The Second World War further exposed China to the ravages of conflict, with millions of lives lost and vast swathes of territory occupied by foreign powers. The end of World War II brought hopes of liberation and resurgence for China, as reflected in the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949 under the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party. Yet, the specter of foreign intervention lingered, with Taiwan remaining a contentious issue and a constant reminder of China's unresolved past. The conflict between China and Taiwan finds its roots in a complex web of historical, political, and ideological factors, spanning over 7 decades since the end of the Second World War. At its core lies the unresolved question of sovereignty and the competing claims of two distinct entities: the People's Republic of China, PRC, and the Republic of China, ROC, commonly referred to as Taiwan. The origins of the conflict can be traced back to the Chinese Civil War, which erupted in 1945 following the defeat of Japan in World War II. The Chinese Communist Party, CCP, led by Mao Zedong, emerged victorious in 1949, establishing the People's Republic of China on the mainland. In contrast, the nationalist Kuomintang, KMT government, led by Chiang Kai-shek, retreated to the island of Taiwan, where it continued to govern under the banner of the Republic of China. The ensuing decades witnessed a protracted standoff between the two rival regimes, with both claiming to be the legitimate government of all China. The PRC sought to isolate Taiwan diplomatically, rallying international support for its One China policy, which insists that there is only one China and that Taiwan is an inseparable part of it. In contrast, Taiwan asserted its sovereignty and pursued a strategy of maintaining de facto independence while preserving its formal claim to represent all of China. Tensions between China and Taiwan consisted over the years, with periods of relative peace followed by episodes of heightened brinkmanship. The United States, in particular, played a pivotal role in shaping the dynamics of the conflict, initially recognizing the ROC as the legitimate government of China and providing it with military and diplomatic support. However, in 1979, the U.S. switched diplomatic recognition to the PRC, acknowledging it as the sole legal government of China, while maintaining unofficial ties with Taiwan through the Taiwan Relations Act. The historical stance of China towards Taiwan, characterized by a reluctance to immediately conquer the island following the Chinese Civil War, can indeed be viewed as a strategic miscalculation with far-reaching consequences. By delaying the reunification of Taiwan with the mainland, China inadvertently allowed the United States to implement a divide-and-conquer strategy, thereby complicating the prospects for eventual unification. Had China moved swiftly to assert its control over Taiwan in the aftermath of the Chinese Civil War, it might have faced less resistance and external interference in its efforts to reunify the island with the mainland. However, by refraining from immediate military action and instead adopting a policy of patience and restraint, China opened the door for the United States to establish a robust alliance with Taiwan, providing it with military assistance, economic support, and diplomatic backing.
But the United States will and should continue to provide defensive weapons for Taiwan. But the level of assistance should be directly related to the offensive threat. That is what the Shanghai II communique, which settled, at least temporarily, this burning issue a few months ago, provides. On the Chinese side, looking at Peking, it is important then, if they want the level of arms to Taiwan reduced, they must reduce the threat.
Over the years, the United States has leveraged its strategic partnership with Taiwan to counterbalance China's growing influence in the Asia-Pacific region. Through the Taiwan Relations Act and other measures, the U.S. has bolstered Taiwan's defenses, enhanced its international standing, and cultivated ties with like-minded allies to deter any attempts by China to forcibly reunify Taiwan with the mainland. As a result, the task of reunifying Taiwan with the mainland has become exponentially more challenging for China. Not only does it face the formidable military capabilities of the United States, but it also contends with a Taiwan that has grown increasingly self-reliant, prosperous, and democratic, a stark contrast to the authoritarian rule of the Chinese Communist Party. Moreover, the people of Taiwan have developed a strong sense of national identity and pride, further complicating China's efforts to win hearts and minds on the island. Taiwan's vibrant democracy, respect for human rights, and flourishing civil society stand in stark contrast to the repressive political system and censorship prevalent in mainland China, making the prospect of reunification less appealing to many Taiwanese. In hindsight, China's decision to delay the reunification of Taiwan with the mainland has proven to be a strategic blunder, allowing the United States to exploit the situation to its advantage and fortify Taiwan's position as a bastion of democracy and freedom in the Asia-Pacific region. This same pattern is played out right now between Ukraine and Russia. It offers another poignant example of how a delay in decisive action can exacerbate tensions and create opportunities for external interference, often utilizing non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and financial support for opposition parties to sow seeds of conflict and manipulate political dynamics. Through the funding of opposition parties, support for civil society groups, and the promotion of regime change agendas, the U.S. seeks to advance its strategic interests and shape the internal affairs of targeted nations. Another example where tensions are always hot is in the relationship between Serbia and Kosovo, where external powers have exploited historical tensions to advance their interests.
Kosovo nije jedan običan deo Srbije. Kosovo je samo srce Srbije. Čitava naša istorija je na Kosovu. Svi naši manastiri su na Kosovu.
They are the complete aggressors and wrongdoers.
With support for Kosovo's independence, the U.S. and European powers weakened Serbia's influence while projecting power in the Balkans, notably through a U.S. military base in Kosovo. In each of these instances, whether it's the citizens of Taiwan, Ukraine, or Kosovo, they must realize that the interests of the U.S. military-industrial complex do not prioritize their well-being or independence. Instead, they are being manipulated to serve the advancement of powerful financial or geopolitical agendas. In closing, it becomes evident that the geopolitical landscape is fraught with complexities and manipulations, where nations and their citizens often find themselves pawns in a larger game orchestrated by powerful entities. The examples of Taiwan, Ukraine, and Kosovo serve as stark reminders of the far-reaching influence wielded by the United States and the hidden forces controlling it. However, amidst these geopolitical maneuvers and power plays, there remains hope for autonomy and self-determination. It lies in the recognition that true sovereignty cannot be granted or safeguarded by external forces with their own vested interests. Indeed, the most favorable outcome arises when the two groups, bound by common heritage and history, transcend the influence of external forces and seek mutual understanding and compromise. Instead of succumbing to the divisive tactics of outside actors, they recognize the shared bonds that unite them and strive to chart a path forward together. By engaging in sincere dialogue and negotiation, these two people groups can find solutions that honor their respective identities and aspirations, while fostering stability and peace in the region. Through compromise and cooperation, they can address grievances, resolve conflicts, and build trust, thereby averting the catastrophic consequences of war and the loss of innocent lives. This collaborative approach not only strengthens the fabric of their societies, but also serves as a powerful deterrent to external interference. By presenting a united front and demonstrating resilience against manipulation, these two people groups assert their sovereignty and autonomy, reclaiming control over their destinies and shaping a future defined by cooperation, prosperity, and lasting peace.